Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the TRRC. Imam C, you have the floor. You can give us some prayers, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين وإن تستفتحوا فقد جاءكم الفتح نصر من الله وفتح قريب وبشر المؤمنين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل والله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر وسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Shukran, Imam C. Bishop, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Lord God of mercy, of grace, of truth, of love, and of compassion, we, your creation, who have gathered here this morning hour at the TRRC to continue to hear about religious freedom and the persecution of religious freedom and other activities that have taken place in this country over the past many years. We continue to ask that you will grant the people, the people of this nation, the patience, the perseverance, and also to grant each and every one to have a spirit of tolerance, so that we'll be able to tolerate one another, not only in matters of religious freedom, but in matters of dealing with one another as a people, as brothers and sisters in this land. We continue to ask, as the truth unfolds, that people will be willing enough to allow the due process of the law to take its course. So at the end of the day, the report that will come out from the TRRC will manifest itself, and that the Lord, who is the giver, the reconciler, and the one who makes reparations, will make all these things possible, and people will be satisfied throughout the breadth and length of this land and the people that are in the diaspora. This we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much indeed, Bishop Udiko. Council, are we ready with this morning's witness? If we are, let's proceed.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, commissioners, and members of the audience. We are ready to proceed with this morning's witness. And may I ask the usher to bring in the witness, please?
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Could the imam be upstanding, please?
I, Imam Baba Mukhtar Lee.
Man, Imam Baba Mukhtar Lee. I, Imam Baba Mukhtar Lee.
We don't need to translate. We don't need to interpret that.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
I, Imam Baba Mukhtar Lee.
Man, Imam Baba Mukhtar Lee.
Do swear.
Mangi géñ
I'll speak the truth.
Dina wax li dëgga.
The whole truth.
Dëgg bi lépp.
And nothing but the truth.
Duñ ci yokk lenn lu dëgg.
So help me God.
Yàlla jàppale.
Thank you very much, Ya Imam.
Jërëjëf, Ya Imam.
How does it work now? I don't know how to. Ya Imam, welcome to the TRRC.
Ya Imam, ñu ngi la dalal TRRC.
Jërëjëf. Thank you.
And thank you for your willingness to testify before the commission.
Jërëjëf ci li nga nangu pour ñëw joxe sa seede fii ci kanam commission bi.
Today, I propose to discuss with you the following topics.
Tey nag li ma bëgg a waxtaan ak yow mooy bunta yi.
First, we would want to talk about your biographical information, who you are, where you went to school, and what you did in your life.
Ca njëlbeen dinañ bëgg a xam yow yaay kan, fan nga jàngee ak lan nga def ci sa wàlli liggéey.
Then we would talk about your brushes with the law during the Jawara era, times during which you were arrested during the period of Sadauda Jawara, and how you were treated during that period.
Gannaaw loolu tam dinañ waxtaane jànkuwante yi nga am ci wàlli luwaa bi jamonoy Sadauda Jawara.
We would talk about your contacts with the AFPRC soon after the coup d'etat in 1994.
Dinañ waxi tamit sa jokkoo ak AFPRC gannaaw coup d'etat 1994 bi.
In particular, the issue of Baba Diop.
Surtout ci mbiri Baba Diop.
We would also talk about the meetings in which you assisted in serving as an interpreter with the AFPRC.
Dinañ waxtaanee tamit ndaje yi nga xam ne nekkoon nga fa di làppatoo AFPRC.
We would also talk about some events that occurred in Gambia, the Youth Festival in Basse and the Futampaf in Kanilai, as a result of which you issued some statements.
Dinañ waxtaanee tamit lu aju ci ay ndaje yoo xam ne ndaje ndaw yi la ak Futampaf yoo xam ne gaaraloon nga fa ay kàddu.
No. Ndaje yooyu bam xewee tax na moom mu def ci ay gestu ba tax mu joxe ay kàddu ci li xew ak joxe ci ay ideas am daal joxe ci ay kàddu. Hello? I was just trying to correct the interpretation. What I meant to say was that he said certain things about those events, not that he spoke in those events. But let's leave it at that for now. We will also talk about your relations with the government prior to 2012, the APRC government. In particular, we will talk about the threats to you.
Dinañ waxtaanee tamit sa jokkoo ak APRC atum 2012 ak it xuppa yi nga xam ne am daj nga ko ci yow tamit.
Prior to 2012, not in 2012.
Bala 2012.
The presence of the NIA in your mosque in Kanifing.
teewaayu NIA ci sa jumaa ji nga xam ne moo nekk Kanifing.
And the arrests that were made or carried out on you at the airport.
Ak arrest bi nga xamne nak arrest nañ la ko ci airport bi.
And the persecution of people who work for Gamcotrap.
Ak li nga xamne japp nañ ko ñi nga xamne ñoo di liggéeyal Gamcotrap.
Sonal ñi liggéey Gamcotrap. How the government treated or handled your program at West Coast Radio?
Naka la nguur gi jàppee sa programme bi nga xam ne yaa ngi ko doon def West Coast Radio.
In particular, I'm referring to your program on Yete, Islamic Perspective.
Rawatina programme bi nga xam ne yaa ngi ko doon def di Yete ci wàllu Islam.
Also your program with GRTS, Talk on Ramadan.
Ak programme bi nga xam ne yaa ngi ko doon def GRTS muy Talk on Ramadan.
And also your other program on the Ideal Wife with Ami Haidara.
Ak sa beneen programme bi nga xam ne ñu ngi ko doon tuddee Ideal Wife ngay ko doon def ak Ami Haidara.
We would also examine your relationship. Imam is laughing. Imam, there's a lot to talk about. We would talk about your relations with the Gunjur people, in particular, the Ziyar for the followers of Sheikh Omar Futi that you used to organize, and how Yaya Jammeh dealt with that.
Dinañ waxtaanee tamit ndaje yi nga xam ne danga ko daan oote mu aju ci siyaare Cheikh Omar Fouti yi nga xam ne ñu ngi ko doon def ci Gunjur.
And the travel ban that was imposed on you by the government not to go travel beyond Sukuta?
Ak liñ la tere woon ne bul tukki nguur gi tegoon nañ ko ci sa kaw pour bul tukki daal lu weesu Sukuta.
And the 2 arrests that were carried out on you by the APRC government.
Ak ñaari arrest yi nga xam ne nguuri APRC defoon nañ la ko.
The first one being in 2002.
Bu njëkk bi nekkoon 2002.
And the last one being in 2012.
Bu mujjee bi nekkoon 2012.
And what you went through during that period of arrest, unlawful detention in both NIA headquarters and Joshua.
Ak yi nga xam ne moom nga jànku wante ci li nga xam ne moo la dal ci NIA seen makkaan bi ak ci Joshua.
And when we finish discussing all that, we would give you an opportunity to address the country.
Buñ waxtaanee yooyu yëpp nag dinañ la jox nag pour nga joxe sa kàddu yu mujj pour gaaral ko ci askan wi.
ñu tàmbali.
baax na.
jërëjëf.
maa ngi njëkk a dooree jàng.
Imam xaaral rek ñu laaj la rek Imam yàkkamti naa wax de.
man mokkal naa li nga wax yëpp.
Thank you. What are your full names here, Imam?
Baba Mokhtar Lee.
My names are Baba Mukhtar Lee.
Imam, I am sending you this paper. Just write your date of birth, sign it, and send it back to me.
maa ngi laa yónnee kayit bi nga bind ci sa bési juddu nga sign ko dal di ma ko yónnee waat.
In the meantime, tell us where you were born.
ci diggante boobu na nga wax ñu fan nga juddoo.
maa ngi juddoo Serekunda.
I was born at Serekunda.
Kindly tell us a bit about your educational background.
wax ñu tuuti ci sa wàlli njàng.
suma papa jàngalekat la woon.
My father was a teacher.
dundaam yëpp daf ko jàngale.
His whole life was dedicated to teaching.
suñ jamono ndaw daara jàngi nekkoon ci kër magam Alaaji Amadou Diallo.
Well, during his lifetime, at that time, there was a school, a Quranic school, in his elder brother's compound.
ñun ñëpp fa lañ njobooti Serekunda ñi ci gën a bari foofu lañ jàngee.
The majority of the family in Serekunda all went through that Quranic school.
li nga wax pour dem school man li ngeen a ooyee school formal school musuma see jaar.
I have never been to a formal school, the formal school that exists.
ba ma jàngee ci suma baay ba jeexal alxuraan.
When I learned the Quran at my father's madrasa until I finished the Quran,
mu bugga ma baamtuwaat ko.
he wanted me to do it again, to repeat the reading of the Quran.
baamtu naa ko ñetti yoon.
I did that 3 times.
mu bugga ñu jàng xam-xam.
He wanted us to learn to have wisdom,
muy fiqh di Islamic jurisprudence.
which is fiqh, called Islamic jurisprudence.
ñu jàng ci lu bari ci ronam.
We learned a lot of that under him.
jàng nañ ba jàng téere bi ñoo wax tuhfatul hukam.
We learned until we read the book called Tulfatul Quran.
What would that translate in English? Tuhfatul Hukam, if you are able to translate it.
téere boobu mooy tegtalu borom xereñ yi.
That book talks about borom hereñ, luy hereñ.
xereñ.
The teachings of the philosophers.
Okay, that is the teachings of the philosophers.
ni nga koy melalee ci university yi gën a kowe lañ ko dee jàngalee.
Well, they teach those type of education at higher levels of the universities.
ni nga xamee jàngi majalis.
Just as you know, the learning of majalis.
moom da ngay jàng pour mokkal.
You learned to understand and master it.
bañ jeexalee fànn boobu.
When we finished that part,
fekk ñu ngi demit classes.
and we were going to classes.
doon ko jàngale di ustaas Maska ustaas Mbayka ci kër suma papa Dudu Salla.
Ustaas Maska and ban Ustaas?
Maska ak rakkaam ku ñu wax Mbayka.
Ustaas Maska and his younger brother, Ustaas Mbayka, were the teachers in my father's compound.
Dudu Salla.
Dudu Salla.
Papi Khalifa Salla.
That man happens to be the father of Khalifa Salla.
daf ñeen fa joxoon classe.
He gave us a class there.
ñun ñëpp dañ fa daan dem jàngi Arabic language.
We all used to go there to learn Arabic language.
Mathematics.
Mathematics.
ak siira ak yeneen fànn.
And Sira. I think that's science in the Arabic language.
Siira mooy dundi yónnent bi.
Oh, okay, that's the life of the Holy Prophet.
bañ ci jeexalee.
When we finished that,
suma pa ebal ma dem Dakar.
that's the time when my father sent me to Dakar.
Could we situate this in terms of time period, which year you finished your Quranic education in Gambia and moved on to Dakar?
soo ñu mënee wax ban at nga jeexal ñanga boobu nga xam ne yaa ngi ko doon def ci biir réew mi ba dal di dem Dakar ban at la woon.
1970.
That was in the year 1970.
ci laa dem Dakar.
That's the year that I went to Dakar.
ma bokk ci école bi ñoo wax franco arabe.
That's the time I went to the school called Franco Arab.
ci Fass.
In Fass.
def naa fa juróomi at.
I spent 5 years there.
ma delsi ci ndeetelu 75.
I came back at the end of 1975.
ma dugg ci fànni liggéey.
Then that's the time I started working.
liggéey naa ay weer ports.
I worked for some months at the ports.
Gabi Socé ñu fa jëloon.
Gabi Socé employed us there.
ma toxu dem GUC.
Then I transferred, I went to the GUC.
Babu Job ñoom Musa Jaite ñoo ma fa jëloon.
Babu Job and Musa Jaite were the people who employed me there.
ma nekk fa assistant meter reader.
I became an assistant meter reader.
ci jamono jooju la am cofeel ci xam-xami xarala.
That's the time I decided to learn knowledge about science.
Technical.
Technical, that's technical knowledge.
Alhaji MC Cham fekk ma foofu bés.
One day, Alhaji MC Cham found me there.
Mu ngi ñëw fay si bill sam.
He came to pay his bills.
Mu ne ma Maodo dégg naa ne arab rek nga dégg nga arab.
He told me, Maudo, that's mean elder, I heard that you can speak Arab.
Ma ne ko waaw.
I said yes.
Mu ne ma xanaa bugguloo jàngale.
He asked me whether I would like to, I don't want to teach.
Ma ne ko kañ.
I said yes, I would like to teach.
Mu ne ma ñëwal suma office nga dem ci Hatab Bojang.
He told me to come to his office and go to Hatab Bojang.
Jamono jooju MC moo doon Minister of Education.
Well, in those days, MC Cham was the Minister of Education.
Ca ëllëg sa ma xëy dem ci office Hatab Bojang yal na ko yàlla yërëm.
The following day, I decided to go to Hatab Bojang's office. May Allah have mercy on his soul.
Moog Oustaz Maska.
With Ustaz Maska.
Ma dem ne leen MC ne naa ñëw ci yéen.
Then I went and told them that MC said, let me come to you people.
Mu ne ma danga bugg a jàngale.
He asked me, do you want to teach?
Ci gàttal daal ci lañ ma jël may jàngale.
To cut things short, that's the time they employed me, I started teaching.
Ñu post ma jamono jooju Winsley Primary School.
That's the time when they posted me to a school called Windley Primary School.
Loolu ngi nekk.
That's my school, Ustaz.
Okay.
That's my primary school.
Jamono jooju mu ngi nekk 1976.
That was in 1976.
Wala 75 boor yooyu daal.
Maybe around 75.
Ma jàngale fa ay weer.
I taught there for some months.
École bi tëj.
The school closed.
Ba ñuy ubbiwaat.
When they were opening,
ñu toxal ma St. Teresa's Primary School.
I was transferred to St. Teresa's Primary School.
Man ak Imam Chernoka.
Myself and Imam Chernoka.
Ak Dr. Mangom Cissé.
And Dr. Mangom Cissé.
ñu nekk ci school boobu di jàngale.
We were teaching at that school.
Ma nekk fa ba at moomu di waaj a jeex.
I was there until towards the end of the year.
Yàlla def ma am scholarship.
Well, God helped me, then I secured a scholarship.
Ma dem Libya.
I went to Libya.
Ma def li ñoo wax imtihanul qubul.
I did what they call imtihanul qubul.
Mooy nga jël exam pour ñu mun la evaluate xam ban level nga war a dooree.
That's the examination you take so that they will know your level of understanding or your level of education.
Bañ pare yàlla def ñu ne ma lu la neex mun nga koo tànn.
Then after that they told me, well, you can choose for yourself whatever you want.
Man li ma bëggoon a jàng dégg mooy loi.
What I wanted to read was the law.
Waaye suma pa àndu ci woon.
But my father disagreed with that.
Ma jàng tànn pour jàng electrical engineering.
That's the time I decided to learn electrical engineering.
Ma def ko ñeneenti at.
I did that for 4 years.
Ma jeexal ci.
I completed that training.
Ba ma koy defit maa ngi am ay classes Islam ak Arabic language di yokk suma mun-mun.
When I was doing these electrical studies, I did it along with Islamic studies and Arab to increase my knowledge.
Jamono jooju Libya melut ni tey.
In those days, Libya was quite different from the present time.
Loo bugg a jàng rek mu ngi fa pour yow.
Whatever you want to learn, it's there for you.
Bañ ci jeexalee.
When we completed there,
ma sàkku ci nguur gi.
I decided to seek help from the government.
Pour ma desaat Libya tuuti.
So that I can stay a little bit longer in Libya.
Because jamono di ustaas di engineer Gambia xamuñ ko.
In those days, an ustaz to be an engineer, Gambia doesn't know that.
Te xam naa su ma ñëwee li may jàmmaarloo si fii.
Then I knew that if I come back here, what Jamar law,
the challenges I'm going to face.
Yeah, the challenges that I'm going to face here.
Jamono jooju Omar Jibril Salla mooy first secretary ci embassy bi.
In those days, Omar Jibril Salla was the first secretary at the embassy.
Ahmad Tidiane Wade moo doon suñu ambassador.
Ahmad Tidiane Wade was the ambassador.
ñu bëggoon lool ma ñibsi.
They wanted me to come home.
ma bëggoon lool pour des fa.
I wanted to stay there.
yàlla def ñu bindal ma leetar nangu pour ma des fa.
Well, they decided to write a letter for me to allow me to stay there.
Letter.
Imam, could we put a time period to this? When did you finish your course in Libya?
Imam di ñu na wax.
li nga laaj
First year.
li nga laajte buñ ko naree tontu du jeex ci benn fan de.
What we are asking, we will not be, if I want to answer all that, we will not finish in a day.
ala kulli halin ak nu mun a demee rek.
In any way,
ba ma jeexalee Libya ma ñib si Gambia.
After completing in Libya, I decided to come home to the Gambia.
ndax liggéey naa fa ñaari at.
Because I worked there for 2 years.
ci power stations yoo xam ne yu sophisticated lañ.
And I worked at sophisticated power stations there.
ba ma ñëwee ñu jël ma GUC.
When I came back, I was employed at the GUC.
jamono jooju jaamaan si fi nekk ñoom Brinkman.
In those days, the place was controlled by Germans, like people like Brinkman.
ak ñoom Serigne Diop.
And Serigne Diop.
ñoom Laye Ndour yal na ko yàlla yërëm.
And people like Laye Ndour, may Allah have mercy on him.
ñu employ ma as system control engineer.
I was employed as a system control engineer.
foofu liggéey naa fa ñaar fukki at ak ñett.
I worked there for 24 years.
ñett.
23 years.
ma bàyyi.
Then I decided to leave.
Which year did you leave?
yaakaar naa 2003. suma juumut.
I think if I can remember properly, it was in 2003 that I left.
waaw. ba ma li tax ma bàyyi it aw xew-xew la.
The reason why I left was because of certain happenings.
Could you tell us?
jërëjëf loolu laa bëggoon.
Thank you, that's what I want.
li tax ma bàyyi jamono jooju dama nekk foo xam ne dafa xereñ lool su lampa fee rek jamono jooju duñ na ta jiw si dañoo ñoom baabalee fa nekk.
In those days where I lived, if light goes off, things were hard, they will just say it is because of Babali and the others who are working there.
te suma diggante nguur gi leerut.
And between myself and the government was not really clear.
ma xam ne bu lampa fee fekk maa nekk juuti.
And I know that if lights go off and I happen to be on duty,
loolu dañoo ne sabotage la.
they will take it as sabotage.
ndax booba xam naa ne ñu ngi may yoot.
Because in those days I knew that they were monitoring me.
te booba it ñu ngi sampa Kanilaay ay generators.
And they were installing generators at Kanilai.
toujours dinañ ma jël si pour ma war a dem Kanilaay te mu diisoon ci man lool.
And for me to be taken to Kanilai was something which was very, very difficult for me.
ma jàpp ne bàyyi daal moo ma noppal.
Then I thought that to leave the job is the only thing that will give me a peace of mind.
ma jël voluntary retirement.
Then I decided to opt for voluntary retirement.
yàlla def jamono jooju borom kër gi di Bacci Balde.
And in those days, by the grace of Allah, the leader there was Bach Balde.
mus naa nekk boosam mu dem jàngi ñëwaat nekk suma boos.
I was his boss at a time, but when he went for studies and came back, he became my boss.
moom buggutoon ma bàyyi.
He didn't want me to leave.
waaye fekk dogu naa.
But by that time, I have already taken a decision.
ba ma bàyyee ma dellu ci suma yëngu ay diineeg oote jëme ci yàlla.
When I left, I decided to go back to Islam, to follow the Islamic way and follow the path of Allah.
ndax suma pama ko daan jàppale toujours ci waree famille itam.
In those days also, I used to represent my father in many things that he used to do in the Islamic job.
ci gàttal daal.
To make things short.
soo amee looy laajte ñu demaat.
If you have anything to ask, we can go forward.
You also had the opportunity to pursue higher education or more education when you left the Gambia for the United States, correct?
waaw
yàlla wërsëgaloon na lay tamit nga dem pour eggali sa jàng ca réewi America.
waaw gannaaw ba xew-xew yi xewee.
Yes, well, after some happenings took place,
bañ dugg xalwa juróom benn weer.
until we went into Khalwa in 6 months.
yàlla def ñu génn réew mi.
God helped for us to leave the country.
ñu yëg ne del si du yomba.
And we understood that to come back will not be easy.
réew mi nekkoon di America jox ñu ay kayit.
The country where we were staying in America gave us some papers.
ñu laaj ma tam loo bugg a def.
And they asked me, what do I want to do?
may la dama bugg a jàng rek.
I told them that I just want to further my education.
rawatina làkkam angale.
Much more the English language.
yàlla def ma dem ñu jox ma exam.
Then that's the time when I went and they gave me an exam.
ci John Hopkins University Community College.
At John Hopkins University Community College.
yàlla def ma jàll ko.
Then, by the grace of Allah, I passed the examination.
ma jàng gën a yokk suma làkka daal.
Then I decided to learn more of the language.
ndax daana làkka di binda waaye ñooñu ma ci gën a dimbale.
I used to speak the language and write, but that study helped me really.
What did you do upon completion of that course?
ba nga matalee njàng moomu lan nga def.
waaw ba ma def fekk na maa ngi def yeneen training tam.
Well, at that time I was doing some other trainings too.
maa ngi doon def tam training bi ñoo pastoral care provider.
I was also training on pastoral care provider.
In Islamic perspective.
In the Islamic perspective.
ndax soo demee John Hopkins University Teaching Hospital.
If you go to John Hopkins University Teaching Hospital.
ak Georgetown Teaching Hospital.
And Georgetown Teaching Hospital.
dañu am office bu rëy.
They had a big office there.
mboolem diine yi am nañ fa imam bu fa nekk wala rabbi wala pastor wala father boo xam ne am nañ seeni patients ci biir lopitaan bi.
All the religions had their imams, pastors, father, rabbi, and other leaders at that place.
te certificate boobu ma fa def.
And the certificate that I did there.
moo laa jox license.
That's the certificate that helps to obtain a license.
pour nga mun a dugg ci lopitaan yooyu yëpp.
So that you can be able to go into those hospitals.
dugg ci kaso yi yëpp.
So that you can enter the prisons too.
di seet ñi soxla sa services.
To look for people who need your service.
nga leen a cancel.
Then you can cancel those people.
so da ngaa toog sa kër rek ñoom ñu ngi amee sa contacts.
Then you sit at home, they have your contact.
léeg-léeg lopitaan bi call la.
Sometimes the hospital will call you.
ñu dañ fi am a Muslim patient.
Then they will tell you, we have a Muslim patient here.
mu ne dafa bugg a wax a imaamam.
And he said he wants to talk to his imam.
bu ko defee nga dem.
Then when that happens, you go.
loolu mun nga koo am ñaari yoon ci week bi wala ñetti yoon.
You can have that 2 or 3 times in a week.
te boo fa demee 1 hour bu ne ñu ngi laa fay $60.
And if you go there every hour, they pay you $60.
foog naa loolu baax na ci ku gàddaay.
And I think that's good for a migrant.
In short, the imam made a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. So ma nekkoon ci loolu.
That's what I was doing.
yàlla def gannaaw dégg naa arab dégg anglais ma def interpretation tam professionally.
And with the help of God, I did Arab and English, so I was able to do interpretation also to a point, to a level.
ñu train ma ci the College of Languages.
And I was trained also at the College of Languages.
ba ma jeexalee.
When I completed that,
organisation bi ñoo IRC.
there is an organization called IRC.
ñu ngi Maryland.
They were situated at Maryland.
mooy International Resettlement Center.
Called the International Resettlement Center.
refugee yi jógee Iraq ñi jógee ci réewi arab yi Yemen fu ne.
The refugees living Iraq, Yemen, and other Arab countries.
suma liggéey moo doon.
my job was,
Madam Airport, Washington Jelilen.
I used to go to the airport at Washington to pick them up.
Dilen dimbali sen immigration issues.
And help them in their immigration issues.
Dilen dimbali sen medical issues.
To help them also in their medical needs.
Sen housing ak yep.
Plus their housing and many other needs.
Bobu tam don benen fan bopam.
That also was a unit of itself.
And when did you return to the Gambia?
Kañ nga dellu si waat Gambia?
maa ngi dellu si Gambia 2017.
I came back to the Gambia in 2017.
February.
In February.
And what do you do now?
Léegi lan nga def?
Well, ba ma ñëwee dama dellu ci suma mbooloo.
When I came back, I returned back to my community.
Di doxal mbiri imam ya ngénte yi takka yi dëj yi jokka mbokka yi ni nga ko xamee rek workshops yeeg conference yeeg fu ne.
Then I continued doing the job of an imam, marriages, naming ceremonies, and other jobs which are for an imam.
And including, of course, being commissioner for the human rights, the permanent commission for human rights in the Gambia.
Bokk na ci tamit nga nekk permanent commission ci liggéeykaay bi ñoo human rights fii ci biir réew mi.
Waaw boobu ci lu mujj la.
Yes, that was towards the end. That was the last part.
Ndax maa ngi nekkoon ak Gamco Trap tam.
Because there was a time I was with Gamco Trap.
Ba tey.
Up to now.
Di continuer suma advocacy.
Continuing the job I do with them, my advocacy.
Affaire women's rights.
Women's rights.
Elimination of harmful traditional practices.
And the elimination of harmful traditional practices.
Girls' education.
Girls' education.
Etc., etc.
And a lot more.
Better ñu ci yooyu tam.
Still we are in those areas.
Wonderful. Imam, it looks like there's a lot to talk about. Thank you very much for telling us about all these interesting experiences you have and about your service in advocating for women's rights in this country.
Imam mel na ni lu bari nañ ko mën a waxtaanee jërëjëf ci li ñu waxal ci li nga xam ne foofu nga jaar ak li nga xam ne yaa ngi taxaw nag pour dooleel jigéen ñi ci seen wàlli cër fii ci biir réew mi.
You talked about having been in Halwa for 6 months and having gone on Gaddai for 5 years. We will come back to both these issues you mentioned.
Wax nga fi dugga nga Halwa juróom benn weer dem nga Gaddai itam juróomi at loolu yëpp dinañ ko waxtaanee ci suñ biir waxtaan.
So now let's go back to the list of issues we mentioned in the beginning. Now that we have talked about your biographical information. During the Jawara era, you have been subjected to arrest a few times. Is that correct?
Ci jamonoy Jawara arrest nañ la ay yoon ndax loolu dëgg la.
Waaw waaye balaa ma dugg foo xaaral ma terminer fale ma nekkoon.
Yes, but before going into that, let me close where I was, where we started.
Ndax soo gisee may liggéey ci women's right tam.
The reason why I am working for the women's rights.
Dañ tooñ Islam ci yu bare bari.
They decided to cause offenses to Islam so many times.
Imam, we will come to that. We would come to your time with Gamco Trap. That's why I called it the persecution of Gamco Trap.
Bismillah.
We would come to that and you would explain all these things, right?
Imam, dinañ ñëw ci mbiri Gamco Trap bu ko defee buñ fa tolloo di ñu mën a leeralal yooyu yëpp.
Okay. So now I want to start from the beginning. The few times you were arrested under the Jawara government, why you were arrested, and how you were dealt with during that period.
Léegi dama bëgg ñu ñëw ci arrest yi nga xam ne moom lañ la defoon ci jamono Jawara lan moo tax ñu arrest la ak naka nga jëflante woon ci jamono jooju.
Waaw xam nga yàlla dafa dogal man Libya laa jàngee.
Well, it was God's decision for me to have my education in Libya.
Ma am fa ay xarit ay kóllëre bari woon fa affaire lool it nag.
I had friends and other people there for me, and so many other things that I used to do things with them.
Bama ñipse it relations you continue.
When I came back, those relationships continued.
Te jamono joju,
And in those days,
tudda Libya ci Gambia sax mun na la indil jafe-jafe.
to name the country's name, Libya, can bring difficulties for you.
Why was that the case? Why was it difficult to have any relations with Libya while living in Gambia at the time?
lu taxoon lu waraloon loolu am jokko ak Libya jamono joo xam ne yaa ngi fii ci biir réewi Gambia.
Jamono joju yëngu-yëngu ku koy sañang bi 1981 a ngi xew.
In those days, Kuikoi's aborted rebellion took place in 1981.
Réew mi ñu bare ngi gëmoon ne yëngu boobu ci Gaddafi nekk ci ronam.
And many people thought that that abortive coup by Kukoi was supported by Gaddafi of Libya.
Mu siiwoon lool ne Kukoy a ngi Libya.
And it was a wide knowledge in this country that Kukoi was in Libya.
In fact, that situation led to the severing of relations between Gambia and the Libyan Arab Jamahiriya.
Jërëjëf.
loolu sax moo sabab moom xejam bi nga xam ne nekkoon na diggante Gambia ak Libya Arab Jamahiriya.
Waaw.
Yes.
Te jamono jooju tam.
And in those days too.
soo ko munee fàttaleku.
If you can remember.
Suma baay Ablaye Fadia.
My father Ablaye Fadia.
ñoom Mansour Ndiaye Radio Gambia.
And Mansour Ndiaye of Radio Gambia, the late Mansour.
amoon na jamono ñu tuumal leen ne dañoo yóbbu ay ndaw jëlee leen Gambia yóbbu leen fa pour train leen militarily.
There was this rumor that these people I named were taking young men from here, sending them to Libya to be trained militarily.
am na ci loo xam ne dëgg la woon sax nag.
Some were true in what they were saying.
am na ci yoo xam ne jéggi dayo la woon.
But some were just mere empty words.
Jéggi dayo.
Jéggi dayo means outrageous.
They were outrageous.
jamono jooju ku dem Libya ku ne.
In those days, anybody who goes to Libya,
soo ñibbisee.
if you come back,
suñ la óoluwut dinañ la téye.
if they don't trust you, they will arrest you.
te man dama daan dem ñaari yoon ñetti yoon Libya.
And I used to go to Libya 2 to 3 times.
maa ngi fàttaliku góor gi dañ ma boole woon a moom itam Sa Dawda.
And I can remember Sadauda, I was reported to him too.
ndax lii doon naa fi délégation ñu dem Libya.
Because I once led a delegation from here and went to Libya.
bañ ñëwee ñu woon ko ne ba ma demee gisee naa fa Kukoy.
And they told him that when I went to Libya on that trip, I happened to meet with Kukoi.
te woon du woon dëgg man xaw ma Kukoy.
And that was not true because I don't even know Kukoi.
yii moo taxoon ñu maa téye jamono jooju.
These were the reasons they used to arrest me for in those days.
How many times were you arrested during that period?
ñaata yoon lañ la téye woon ci jamono jooju.
xaw ma de waaye bari na xam naa ëpp na fukki yoon moom.
Well, I cannot remember all. I know there was a lot of times I was arrested, and I knew it was more than 10 times.
amoon na jamono joo xam ne.
There was a time.
Dakar lañ ma téye ca aéroport ba.
I was arrested in Dakar at the airport.
By who?
yal na ko yàlla yërëm Samba Ba.
May Allah have mercy on him. Somebody called Samba Ba.
Was he alone?
moom kenn la woon.
non mu ngi ànd ak ku ñoo something Jiba.
He was with somebody called something Jiba.
ci Land Rover lañ ma dugal indi ma boobu.
They put me on board a Land Rover and brought me.
You said you were arrested in Dakar.
Wow.
Where in Dakar were you arrested?
ca airport ba.
At the airport.
dama wàcc rek seen gaa yi.
When I disembarked from the plane, I saw them.
ma nuyuwante Samba mu ne ma Maodo ko admin arani.
I exchanged greetings with Samba, but he talked to me in full and said, well, you are the person we are here for.
ma ne ko man plane laay demee.
I told him, what me? I'm traveling by plane.
mu ne ma noonu lañ demee moto.
He said, no, we have to go by transport.
xëccoo nañ fa tuuti.
We had a little argument there.
waaye mel ni jamono jooju diggante Gambia ak Sénégal am nañ déggatoo boobu.
But in those days, between Gambia and Senegal, they had that common agreement.
li tax ma foog ko.
Why I thought that way?
man waxuma leen indil leen ma suma bagage yi.
I didn't tell them to bring my baggages.
maa ngi transit.
I was on transit.
fi ma taxaw ñu indil ma suma wólis.
But where I was standing, they decided to bring my luggages.
ma xam ne am na lu xew.
Then that's the time I knew that something is afoot.
jaay nañ la.
waaw ci lañ ma dugal ci Land Rover bi.
That's the time they put me on board that Land Rover.
ñu ñëw Banjul.
And we came to Banjul.
police station lañ ma wàccee.
And they took me to the police station.
suma waa kër yéeguñ sax ne ñëw naa.
My people at the compound didn't even know that I am back.
waaye xamoon nañ ne maa ngi ñëw bés fan yooyu.
But they knew that I was supposed to come in those days.
ñu laaj ma fa yu bari.
They asked me a lot of questions there.
bés boobu mooy njël benn bés ñu jël suma baaraam yépp.
That was the first time that day they decided to take all my fingerprints.
ma ne leen man suma diggante Libya Islam la.
I told them the relationship between me and Libya is only Islam.
man Islamic Call Society ñoo may invite ñoom lay demal.
It is an association called Islamic Call Society who used to invite me, and and that association is why I am going to Libya.
demoon naa ba bokk ci seen organizing committee bi.
I went to the point of being a member of their organizing committee.
fu nekk lañ dema ñoom ci àddina.
We went to many places in this world.
ay conference.
We used to attend conferences.
bañ pare ci loolu waaye musuma faa fanaan musuñ maa fanaanal.
When we were ready, I never spent the night there, but after that.
In all these 10 arrests, have you ever been made to spend the night at the station?
fukki arrest yi nga xam ne yëpp moom lañ la jàppa ndax am na ci benn boo xam ne fanaan nga ci station bi.
amut benn buñ ma musa fanaan loo.
I didn't spend the night at the station in all those arrests.
How about torture? Have you ever been tortured in any of those 10 arrests?
loxo yi musuma caalaal.
I was never tortured by anybody there.
Have you ever been treated in such a way during that time to make you feel that any of your rights were being violated?
ndax yoroon nañ la ci benn anam boo xam ne yëg nga ne yow daal sa àq ak yelleef yàq nañ ko.
well yàq nañ suma àq ak yelleef ndax ñib ci kay kër laa bëggoon a dem fuñ ma mun a jaarale rek tooñ nañ ma.
Yes, they offended me because what was my intention was to go to my home, and they prevented me from going to my home.
That is permissible by law.
Why? It's permissible by law.
Because there was suspicion that you may have done something, so which allows them to stop you and make reasonable inquiries.
loolu luwaa nangu na ko ndaxte xëj na ñu ngi njortoon ne am na loo def luwaa may na leen nag ñu gàttandu la pour def ay gëstu ci mbir moomu.
But in that period, did you suffer anything that was so serious that you felt that you were being targeted and your rights were being violated?
Musuta.
It never happened.
Could you interpret my question first? Ya imam nga may interpreter bi mu lapato njëkka bala nga tontu. Go ahead.
ndax amoon na benn jamono boo xam ne am na luñ la ci def ci jamono yi la jàpp noonu yoo xam ne miti na la torop ba nga xam ne daal lii sonal na la yàq na sa ak yelleef.
And the answer was no.
Yes, the answer was no.
Okay. Did these arrests, did it end at some point?
Jàppa yooyu ñu la doon dox di jàppa nag ndax am na jamono joo xam ne nag bàyyi nañ ko.
waaw dafa am góor gu ma xelaloon fekk ma suma kër xelal ma.
Well, there was somebody who came to my compound and gave me an idea.
ki ñoo wax Alhaji Modou Bob jamono jooju protocol la ci président Jawara.
He was called Alhaji Modou Bob. He was a protocol to Jawara.
dafa ñëw suma kër fekk ma fa.
He came to my compound and found me there.
mu ne ma suma sëriñ foogu loole da nga war a dem wax ak borom réew mi ndax jàppa yi lay jàppa mu jeex ndax ñun li soof nañu.
He told me, Marabu, why don't you go to the big man and talk to him? Because this arrest is now too much. We want to see an end to it.
Manako dina ko jar.
He said, does it worth it?
Mune ma waaw.
He said, yes.
Manako wa baxna.
I said, okay.
Mune ma dina la topato alarba nga mun ko gis.
He said he will make an arrangement for me so that on Wednesday I can see him.
Bam jote.
When the time came,
Mune ma fukki waxtu.
he told me to come there at 10 o'clock.
Madam fukki waxtu president's office.
I went to president's office at 10 o'clock.
Madam fekk góor gaa ngi may xaar.
And when I reached there, I found the man waiting for me.
Ma ñëw mu ne ma Bob moo ne dama bëgg a gis.
That's the time he asked me, Bob said you wanted to see me.
Ma ne ko waaw ndax dañ may tooñ toujours te tooñ baaxut.
I said yes. I am being offended every time, and that's not good.
Mu ree mu ne ma ku lay tooñ.
He laughed and said, who is offending you?
Yal na ko yàlla yére ma ne ko Pa Jallow moo ma mujjee tooñ.
May Allah have mercy on him. I told him it was Pa Jallow who is offending me.
Waaye yal na ko yàlla yërëm Keba Cissé yi tooñ na ma yoon yu bari.
May Allah have mercy on him. Keba Cissé also offended me many times.
Ma kontel ko ñi ma téyew yëpp.
Then I decided to count for him those who arrested me.
Yeah, Imam, Pa Jallow, Keba Cissé, and Samba Ba. What do they have in common? Did they work for any particular institution at the time?
Yeah, Imam, Pa Jallow, Samba Ba, ak Keba Cissé ñooñu ci lan lañ doon liggéey.
Jamono jooju ñoo nekkoon fàtte naa tur yi ci jamono waaye ñoo doon NIA daal.
NSS?
NSS, wow.
In those days, they were the guys working at the NSS.
Wow. So, mu ne ma lu xew ma ne ko man damay dem Libya toujours.
He asked me then, what's the problem? I told him that I used to go to Libya every time.
Ma ne ko te nguur gi ñoo ma ebaloon Libya.
And I told him that it was the government which sent me to Libya.
Te ma am fa ay xarit am fa ay mbooloo yu ma bokk.
Then I have friends and other people who have the same, who are
and other
organizations that I have been working with.
Mu ne ma waaye xam nga Libya du réew mu óor.
Then he told me, but you know that Libya is not a country where somebody can trust the regime.
Safe.
Ma ne ko loo wax nga dëgg loo xamul rek óorut pour yow.
I said, yes, you are right, but what you don't know will not be safe for you.
Waaye pour man Libya laa gën a xam Gambia sa man lu óor la ci man.
Well, I said, but for me, I know Libya more than the Gambia. That place is safe for me.
Mu laaj ma.
He asked me
lu ma fa dee uti.
what I used to go there to find.
Ma wax ko yëpp.
I narrated everything to him.
Ma ne ko te man musuma bokk ci luy yëngal réew mi.
I told him I have never been part of anything that brings destabilization into this country.
Ndax fekk wax na ma ne.
Because he told me that
yéen taalibe yi nekkoon Libya.
you students who were in Libya.
yéen a siisoon embassy bi.
You were the people who seized the embassy there.
Indi fa jafe-jafe.
You brought problems there.
Jamono jooju Alhaji Musa Dabo yal na ko yàlla yërëm moo doon ambassadeur bi foofu.
Those days Alhaji Musa Dabo, may Allah have mercy on him, was the ambassador there.
Ma ne ko dëgg la.
I said, yes, that's true.
Ma ne ko waaye laajal sa first secretary bi.
But I told him to ask his first secretary.
Ak sa ambassador bi.
And your ambassador.
Lana doon suma taxawaay man.
What was my stance there?
Ma ne ko laajal Babu Sow Oji Sala ak Musa Dabo ci boppam.
I asked him to ask Babu Sow, Oji Sala, and Musa Dabo himself.
Yàlla def mu ne ma baax na xaaral tuuti.
He said, okay, that's good. Wait for a while.
Ndeke ona Pa Jallow.
On the whole, he had already called Pa Jallow.
Ba Pa Jallow ñëwee.
When Pa Jallow came,
ma waxaat li ma waxoon.
I repeated what I said before.
Jawara ne ko kii suma rakk la.
Then Jawara told him that this man is my younger brother.
Ma ne ko ndax man Sir Dawda man duma PPP.
And I told him, Sir Dawda, but I am not PPP.
Waaye OJ lay votal.
But I used to vote for OJ.
Because suma nit la.
Because he's my friend, some sort of.
Ma ne ko man awma soxla ci yi ngeen nekk yéen.
I said I have no business in what people are doing.
Mu ne ma jeex na kenn du la jàppati.
He said, it's finished. Nobody will arrest you again.
Chala fiix.
That's the time when I became free.
Saa ma neexee dem Libya ñëw kenn duma laaj.
That's the time when I became free. I used to go to Libya and come back at any time, and nobody will even ask me.
And fast forward, in 1994, July 22nd, there was a coup d'etat and a change of government. Do you remember that?
Atum 1994 weeri July ñaar fukki fan yi ak ñaar amoon na coup d'état ndax fàttaliku nga ko.
Bu baax.
Yes, very well.
During that time, during the early days, did you have any contact with the AFPRC seeking your help?
Jamono jooja nag ca bésu njëkka ya ndax amoon na benn jamono boo xam ne AFPRC sàkku woon nañ ndimbal ci yow.
Xam nga lu jiitu coup d'état bi.
You see what happened before the coup d'etat?
maa ngi doon liggéey Kotu Power Station.
I was working at the Kotu Power Station.
Jamono jooju.
In those days.
James Jammeh.
James Jammeh.
And who is James Jammeh?
Mooy Alhaji Yahya Abdul Aziz Junkun Jammeh.
James Junkun Jammeh.
James Junkun Jammeh.
Called Alhaji Yahya Abdul Aziz James Junkun Jammeh.
Te jiite woon réew mi file.
And he was the head of state here.
Jamono jooju.
In those days.
Mu ngi liggéey ci ron benn Sénégalais bu ñëw wa Arzidan Sen.
He was working under somebody called Arzidan Sen.
Adjutant Sen.
Adjutant Sen.
Soldat, zandam la woon.
He was a zandam.
Moog ñoom Jeesow.
And him and people and Jeesow.
ñoom Essa Bokar Si mile.
ñoo and Essa Bokar Si.
ñoom ñëpp ñoo fa daan liggéey.
They were all working there.
As what?
Luñ fa doon liggéey.
Security bi ñoo ko yore woon.
They were responsible for the security there.
Ci laa xamante ñoom ñëpp.
That's the time I became acquainted with all of them.
Did you have a relationship with him?
Amoon nga benn jokkoo
Yaya Abdul Aziz James Junkung, as you called him, Jammeh.
Jamono jooju xamante woon nañ jàmmaane woon suñ diggante.
In those days we knew each other. There was only goodwill between us.
Yàlla def looloo waral ba coup d'état bi amee.
That's why after the coup d'état.
Ci ajuma ju ci boppam.
On that same Friday.
Man ci lañ ma oo.
That's the time they called me.
ñu ne dañu war a dem State House.
They said we should go to State House.
Kan moo ma oo.
Who called me?
Baboucarr Jatta mi nekk fii.
It was Baboucarr Jatta here who was here.
Ak ñoom Ablaye Kujabi.
And Ablaye Kujabi.
dañu nit ñu ma xamantelal woon.
Because these people, I was well acquainted with them.
Bañ demee State House.
When we went to State House.
Yaagut Elimani Bakaw bi ñëw.
In a short while, the imam of Bakaw also came.
Yal na ko yàlla yërëm imam Khali Umar Jaite tam ñëw.
May Allah have mercy on him. Imam Khali Omar Jaite also came.
ñoom imam Ablaye Diop ñëpp ñëw ñoom Alhaji Makumba.
Imam Ablaye Diop and Makumba Diop, they all came.
Makumba Jey.
Makumba Jey all came.
ñu toog ak jamono jooja ñi ñoo wax council bi.
We sat down. In those days, the group called the council.
ñu woon ñu ñooy ñan.
They showed us who they are.
Yaya ci la woon.
Yaya was there.
Edward Singateng fa woon.
Edward Singata was there.
Sadibou Haidara fa woon.
Sadibou Haidara was there.
Sana Sabale fa woon.
Sana Sabale was present.
Jamono jooju Yankuba Touré ndeke mu ngi jógee woon Farafenni di ñëw.
In those days, on the whole, Yankuba Touré had already left Farafenni and was coming.
So ñu woon ñu ñoom seen jubluwaay.
And they showed us what their intentions are.
Yaya woon ñu ne ni réew mi di doxee moo ko naxari.
Yaya said that how the nation was being run is what he doesn't like.
Ci lim de ooyee rampant corruption.
The word that he used to use to saying that there was rampant corruption.
Bokk na ci lim naxee woon élimaan yi jamono jooju.
That was one of the other things that he deceived the imams in those days.
He used to deceive the imam.
He used to deceive.
Mu ne li ko gën a naxari ba mu coup d'état.
He said what pained him up to the point of organizing that coup d'état.
Ni élimaan yi di sonnee ci réew mi te amuñ seen gëdda.
How the imams were suffering in this country and they don't have their share.
They are due.
Oh, they are due. Okay.
Liño fay governors yek ministers yek yep li imam yi di liggéey mo upp solo.
What they are paying the governors and other high-ranking officers, and what the imams were doing was better than those people's job.
Mune imam yi ñoy di torch bearers, word bi la use.
He said the imams were the torch bearers.
Ñoy lampi njobot gi.
They are the light for the people.
Bam waxe waxam yoy ba pare.
After he said all those things,
Mune dafa buga imam yeb jappale ko.
he said he wants all the imams to support him.
Imam Ablaye Job mo don magi elimani jamono joju.
Imam Ablaye Job was the head of the imams in those days.
Mo ñëk tontu.
He's the first man who replied.
Ni ko wax nga deug bi.
He said, you are right.
You're reminding me of him, right?
Yalla xam na ne elimani son nañ de.
Really, Allah knows that the imams have suffered.
Suma maam la de moy
Well, he's my father.
Won ko njambat gi mankel elimani yeb.
He explained to him what was the shortcomings for the imams.
No, all the problems the imams were facing.
All the problems the imams were facing.
Bam pare Khali Umar Jaite yal nako Yalla yerem.
After that, Khali Umar Jaite, may Allah have mercy on him.
Mulaka ci sose mune sose dañ ne.
He spoke in Mandinka and said, the Mandinka say,
Kila boot soy ñaan Yalla mu daanu.
the person who put you on his or her back, if you pray to Allah for that person to fall down.
No. I think if whilst praying, if the person carries you on his back whilst praying and you fall down.
No. Kila boot soy ñaan Yalla pour mu daanu.
Okay.
Person
All right.
who put you on his or her back, if pray to Allah for that person to fall down.
Mune na nga ñaan Yalla bu mu jaaxaan de.
Pray to God that let that person not fall on his or her back.
Ndax kon yaay njëkk a loru.
Because you on the back of that person will be the first person to suffer.
Mune ca jotaay ba.
He said at that meeting,
Li ngeen wax ci mboni Jawara.
what you said about Jawara
Ak nguuram.
and his government
Ak jubadeem.
and his wrong dealings or his wrong ways of doing things,
His dishonesty.
his dishonesty, yeah.
Yéen a ko xam de.
You know that.
Waaye ñun taalibe yi.
But we, the marabouts or the talibes,
ñun xamuñ ko.
we don't know.
Yàlla na ko Yàlla yërëm Elimani Bakaw bi.
May Allah have mercy on him, the Bakau Imam.
Foog naa Njaay la sant xam fàtte naa.
If I can remember, his name was Njai.
Njaay or Jammeh, I don't know.
Njai or Jamme.
Waaw. Mu ne ko lii nga def.
Said, what you did,
Dag ñu ëpp doole rek.
it's just that you are more powerful than us.
Waaye ñun ñoo ko gën a bugga.
But we loved it more than you.
Suñ ko munoon.
If we could have done it,
Di nga fekk ñun ñu jëlee fi Jawara bu yàgg.
you would have found us that we've removed him a long time ago.
So werante bi desee diggante ñoomi neen.
So that's the time the argument was left between them.
Te yaaya angale la doon laaka.
And Yaya was speaking in English.
Maa ko daan wax ci olof.
I was translating it in Wolof.
Laalo Samate di ko wax ci soose. Yal na ko Yàlla yërëm.
Lalo Samate was interpreting it in Mandinka. May Allah have mercy on him.
Bañ waxee ba pare.
After all what was said,
ñii nangu.
those people who agreed decided to agree.
Maa ngi fàttaliku Imam Mood Lamin Dramé.
I can remember Imam Mood Lamin Dramé.
Mu ne ko li Yàlla dogal rek ay am de.
He said, well, whatever God decides, that's what's going to happen.
Waaye fexe leen bu fi kenn dee.
But try by all means so that nobody will lose his or her life.
Bu fi demben deret tuuru.
Let no blood be spilled here.
Waaye li des nag ci loxo Yàlla la ne.
But whatever is left in Allah's hands.
Jamono jooju Jawarang ci gaal gi.
In those days, and at that time, Jawara was on board the ship.
Bañ demee bay génna.
When we went up to the point of exiting the place,
ma fekk Sana Sabali.
I found Sana Sabali.
Moom ku ko xamoon laa bu yàgg.
He's a person I knew a long time before.
Muy xëccoo Yankuba Touré.
He was arguing with Yankuba Touré.
Naan ko dellul kenn ooyu la fi.
He said to Yankuba Touré, go back, nobody has called you here.
Yankuba yi di siisu.
Yankuba was also insisting.
ma intervene leen jàmmaleen.
Then I decided to intervene and told them to have peace.
dal leen.
Take it easy.
ñoom Sadibou Haidara yëpp.
And people like Sadibou Haidara.
ci lañ dal.
That's the time when they decided to calm down.
ba bañ demee ca ëllëg sa.
When we left, and the following day,
moom Ablaye Kujabi ñu jël si waat ma.
Ablaye Kujabi came back for me.
ñu dañ bugga ñu wóor élimaan yëpp ñu amaat meeting a ñoom.
They said they want us to go around and meet all the imams.
boobu samedi la woon.
It was on a Saturday.
ma ànd ak moom.
We went together.
ñu dem kër imam Ismaila Bey.
We went to Imam Ismaila Bey's compound.
bañ demee daanaka daf ñu daaxa moom.
When we went there, well, he drove us away.
mu ne ma suma rakk ji bu leen ma ci boole.
He said, well, my younger brother, don't even involve me.
man li ma daj ci 81.
What happened to me?
yéen a xamul waaye man xam naa.
You don't know, but I know.
bu ma ci kenn boole.
Let nobody involve me in this.
ñu génn dem.
We went out and left.
dem round imam yu bari.
We went round and met a lot of imams.
muy dimanche ci suba.
Until the morning on Sunday.
imam yu bari daje fa.
A lot of the imams came there.
ci la wone jubluwaayam ak yëppati.
That's the time he decided to narrate to them what he wanted to do.
daanaka ci gàttal ñëpp ci àndoon daal.
To cut things short, all along, everybody went along with him.
ci doorin bi daal ñu bari bañuñ.
At the beginning, a lot of people didn't refuse him.
yàggut ci lañ téye ministres yëpp.
In a short time, all the ministers were arrested.
But did they ask for your help to introduce them to, or to help them with regards to Libya?
ndax laajoon nañ la pour nga dimbali leen lu aju ci mbiru Libya.
ca dimanche ja ci ngoon.
On Sunday in the evening,
dañ ma ne pare nañ pour dem Libya Yaya ci boppam.
they told me that we are ready to go to Libya, and it was Yaya himself.
te Yaya mu ne xam na ne man ko xam Libya la.
And Yaya said, somebody who knows a lot about Libya.
ndax jamono jañ daan dem Libya di ñëw ñu ñoo téye.
So, because there was a time when we used to go to Libya and come back and be arrested.
maag ñoom Baba Diop yëpp.
Myself and Baba Diop.
Yaya bokkoon na ci ñi daan interrogate.
Yaya was part of the people who used to interrogate us.
soo xamoon na suñ diggante Libya.
So he was aware of our relationship with Libya.
ñu mu ne ma dama bëgg a ànd ak team bi.
He said he wants to travel with the team.
ma ne ko man mënumaa dem.
Then I said, I cannot go.
mu ne ma lu tax.
He asked me why.
ma ne ko suma pa màgge na.
I said to him, my father is very old.
te maa koo jàppale.
And I am the person who is holding the fort for him.
te Libya itam.
And Libya also.
man xawma Libya politically.
I don't know Libya politically.
ma ne ko ki xam Libya politically.
Who knows Libya politically?
ma ne ko Baba Diop la.
Is Baba Diop.
mu ne ma Baba Diop nekku fi.
He said Baba Diop is not
ma ne
here.
ko ñëw na.
I told him that Baba Diop is here.
ndax Baba Diop suma boy la woon.
Because Baba Diop was my boy in those days.
su ko mbokkam yi déggee xam nañ li ma wax.
If his relatives hear what I'm saying, they know what I'm talking about.
ñu mel ni ñoom Yankuba Diop.
People like Yankuba Diop.
ñoom ñu nga Holland.
They were in Holland.
bañ nekkee ci university bi.
When they were at the university,
Baba Diop was very much active.
Baba Diop was a very active person.
bu sawar la woon.
Somebody who was really active.
ñoom Sirifo Kanyi.
Like Sirifo Kanyi.
ñu bari ñu sawar loon ci révolution Libya bi.
A lot of them were so active in Libya's revolution.
li ñu xam Libya ci wàll boobu ñun xamuñ ko.
What they knew about Libya on that side, we didn't know it.
soo ñu ne ma Baba nekku fi.
They said Baba is not here.
fekk Baba ba mu ñibbisee.
Because when Baba came home,
daf daan am jafe-jafe moom itam jamono
he
jooju.
used to have problems in those days.
dañ ko daan téye lool.
They used to arrest him.
man mii.
Me, myself,
maa daan dem ci Yaya Cissé.
I used to go to Yaya Cissé
ñoom OJ.
and OJ
pour ñu dimbale ko.
so that they can help me
ñu bàyyi ko.
to release Baba.
loolu di am.
That was happening.
di am.
That was going on.
ba Baba woon ma jamono dafa bugg a am liggéey.
When a time came when Baba told me that he wants to have a job.
te ca Al Fatiha University bi ñu jàngee ñun ñëpp.
And at the Al Fatiha University where we all went through.
Mom soil management la jàng Baba Jobe moomu ngay gis.
He learned soil management, Baba Jobe.
Ma ne ko foo war a liggéey.
I asked him, where do you want to work?
Mu ne ma agriculture.
He said agriculture.
Ma ne ko nañ dem.
I said to him, let's go.
Ci laa ko yóbbu ci OJ.
That's the time I took him to OJ.
moo tax bi léegi OJ daf ma dee tooñ ne ma yaa introduce Yaya Jammeh Baba Jobe yëpp ci man.
Up to now, OJ used to tease me and told me, you are the person who brought Baba Jobe to us, myself and Yaya Jammeh.
Ma ne ko kii da nga ko war a.
No, you introduced both Yaya Jammeh and Baba Jobe to me.
Ma ne ko kii da nga ko war a dimbale mu am liggéey.
I told him you should help this man to have a job.
Mu ne na indicator yi.
He asked Baba to bring his documents.
Baba indicator yëpp.
He brought his documents.
Mu jox ko Musa Mbenga mi nekk fii.
And gave them to Musa Mbenga.
Dama jox Musa Mbenga déet moom Baba Jobe moo koy jox OJ jox ko Musa Mbenga.
It was Baba who gave it to
OJ,
and
who in
OJ
turn
gave it to Musa Mbenga.
Ak application am.
Plus his application letter.
Ci la jaar fi mu war a jaar bi am liggéey bi.
That's how he went on and up to securing the job.
Liggéey na fa ñaar ñetti at.
He worked there for 2 to 3 years.
maa ngi fàttaliku suma mujjantal ak moom.
I can remember the last time I had contact with him.
ci mbiri liggéeyam.
On his job.
ci la ñëw mu ne dafa bugg a dem xaw ma benn training waaye Musa daal moo ko dee koñe.
He said he wanted to go for a certain type of training, but it was Musa who is refusing for him to go.
te gaay yëpp a ngi dem.
And all the others were going.
ci laa ko ne nañu wax a Musa rek.
Then I told him, well, let's go and talk to Musa.
Yàlla def mu dem.
Then God helped him and he went.
2 days la ñib si balaa 94 coup d'état bi.
He came home 2 days before the 1994 coup d'état.
jamono jooju mu ngi dëkk Lameng.
In those days, he was living at Lameng.
kër Jibu Senghor.
In Jibu Senghor's compound.
Hallelujah.
That's where he rented a room.
So how did the AFPRC react when you told them Baba Jobe was in town?
AFPRC ñoom luñ meloon bi nga leen waxee ne Baba Jobe mu ngi ci réew mi.
yaa ci boppam ne I know him.
Yaya himself said, I know him.
ci lañ yónnee.
That's the time he sent.
jokkoog moom.
Until he was able to have contact with Baba.
ci laa gëj a xam diggante bi nag.
That's where I ceased to know what was between them.
waaye diggante bi demoon nañ Libya nag.
But within those days, they went together to Libya.
ci diggante bi neexoon na nag.
And in those days, it was very fine between them.
ba ba muy xorbet.
Until at the time when things went sour.
Ak ba muy dog.
loolu la demee.
Yes, that's until when the relationship ended. That's how it went.
After that period, you carried on your activities as imam, correct?
Gannaaw loolu nag nga continuer di def sa ay yëngu comme imam du loolu.
waaw gannaaw loolu yëpp maa ngi continuer ak li ma ko doon yëpp maa ngi liggéey jiw si waaye maa ngi jàppale suma pa. waaye jamono jooju kaani fi amaguñ juma.
Yes, I was still going on with my job as an imam because I was the person holding the fort for my father. But at the same time, I was also working for GUC.
So kindly tell us what happened with regards to the festivals, the 2 youth festivals that were held in Kanilai. That's the Futampaf in Kanilai and the youth festival in Basse, and how you reacted to that.
Léegi waxal ñu ñaari festival yi nga xam ne moo amoon Futampaf bi Kanilai ak youth festival bi nga xam ne moo nekk ci Basse naka nga ci mel foofu.
I believe this was in 2002.
foog naa loolu atum 2002 la woon.
waaw council soo xamee man ni ma dee prepare suma sermons.
Council, if you know the way I used to prepare my sermons.
man alxames ci ngoon wala ajuma ci suba laay toppatoo li ma toppatoo.
Yes, it was always on Thursday evening or Friday morning that I used to prepare these things.
te dama dee read papers yëpp.
And I used to read all the papers.
ma seet li itteel jamono.
And look for what is better for the nation.
li itteel jamono.
What is good for the what is interesting for the nation.
What is of interest?
Yes.
What concerns the nation.
What concerns the nation.
Wow. ci laa dee mun a jël binda suma sermons.
That's what I always look at and take and write whatever I'm going to write about my sermons.
That Islam ci lu nekk la wax.
Because Islam talked about everything.
Waaye yàlla mayut ku nekk pour nga mun koo islamanize seeti li ci islam àtte élimaan yi bari nañ waaye du ñëpp a ko mun.
But not everybody can Islamize all those things. Not everybody can do it.
So ci week boobu.
So in that week,
ba ma defee suma research ma gis ne.
when I did my research, I saw that
Putampaf bi xew na.
the Futampaf took place.
ñu ne spend nañ ci $2 million yi.
And they said they spent $2 million on the Futampaf.
ñu oote waa di youth festival.
And the youth festival was also called.
ñu ne spend nañ ci lu def ñette wala $4 million yi.
They said they spent $3 to $4 million.
ma boole ko mu nekk daanaka $2 million yi.
After adding the two amounts, it became $7 million.
ma bind suma xutba.
I wrote my sermon.
Because am na hadith bu yàlla di yónnente bi di wax ne.
There is a hadith which the prophet used to say.
mu ne alali réew alali yàlla la.
He said the nation's wealth is Allah's wealth.
mu ne yàlla rubba na képp ku foyantoo alali réew mi.
He said any person who plays with the nation's wealth, you are playing with Allah's wealth.
Yàlla rubba na ku fo ak alali réew mi. Yàlla rubba na. That God hunts those who play or misuse or squander the nation's wealth.
All right.
It's very well closer to what it means, really. Thank you.
It's very close to what it means. Okay.
Ba ma defee sermon boobu.
When I did that sermon,
ma ne ndawi réew mi ñu ne yéen la ñoo oo pour ngeen fo.
I said, the youth of the country, you are the people they are calling to go and play.
Suñ dajale woon loolu.
If that was put together.
tàggat leen ci métier.
And try and find some skills or organize some skills for you.
bu ëllëg ngeen mun a amee seen bopp.
So that tomorrow you can be yourself, you can take along yourself, you can be self-employed.
ci suma sermon ma ne ndaw yi moytu leen politiciens yi.
Then in my sermon I said, be careful of these politicians.
jamono biñ leen a follow di leen tàccul.
The time when they are clapping for you, following you.
making you play. ñoom ñu ngi tànn seen doom yi yóbbu leen ci college yi university.
They decided to send their children to the colleges and universities.
te ma ne lu mu yàgg dolli calam yàggoon.
And whatever it takes.
Do you take that again, sir?
lu mu yàgg dolli calam yàggoon.
However long it may be, a longer period will be added to that.
No matter how long it is plus how long it was.
Yes.
ñi jàngut amuñ métier duñ jiite benn réew.
Those who are not educated and they have no skills cannot lead the country.
Can you say that again? Are you sure about that?
ma ne ñi jàngut amuñ métier duñ musa jiite réew mi.
Those who didn't have education and they don't have skills will never lead this country.
Or should never leave this country.
Will never lead.
Or should never lead.
They will not even.
Okay.
They will not.
I like your optimism, but let's proceed.
Yeah, actually they will never. So li xew ma ne leen dafa am wax ju siiw.
I told them there is a saying which is very common.
ñu ngi ko naxee ndaw yi.
And that's what they are using to fool
naa leen you are the leaders of tomorrow.
Telling them that you are the leaders of tomorrow.
Ko waxal wax ko ndaw yi.
Every man who talks will say that to the young ones.
rawatina politicians yi.
Much more the politicians.
may la waaye ci minbar bi man maa ngi leen a wax ne.
When me at the member where I used to preach, at the pulpit, I'm telling you.
yéenay leaders ci ëllëg yi.
You are the leaders of tomorrow.
Yenay prisoners si ëllëg yi.
But you are the prisoners of tomorrow too.
Yenay enukati ëllëg yi.
You will be the load bearers of tomorrow.
Yenay bagwe yi ëllëg yi.
Laborers.
Yenay bagwe yi ëllëg yi.
You will be the backway migrants tomorrow.
Nda ëllëg seen ëllëg la.
Because tomorrow is your tomorrow.
Waaye ku ko waajalut doo ci am cër.
But if anybody is not prepared for it, you will not have any share in that.
Ba ma paree suma xutba ñu julli.
When I completed my sermon, we prayed.
Baamtu naa sax ne yéen a ngi jël de because xam naa leen.
I even repeated that we are taking.
Who are you referring to?
Mbokki NIA jamono jooju.
The people and their NIA colleagues.
Were they present there?
Of course.
boobu ñu ngi fa woon.
Yeah,
Bu
they
baax
were
a baax ñu
there.
ngi fa foofu moo doon seen julleekaay.
That was where they used to come and pray.
Were they just there to pray or were they for other purposes?
dañ ñëwoon rek pour julli wax ndax dafa am leneen luñ fa jublu woon.
Xam nga council soo xamee réewi arab yi.
Council, if you know these Arab countries,
soo eggee ci minbar da ngaa préparer sa bopp.
if you climb onto the pulpit, you have to prepare yourself.
Because foofa kenn sañuta wax mbooloo ku dul ilimaan.
Because nobody has the daring mind to talk there apart from an imam.
Ak mbooloo imam rek am opportunity boobu.
And in a crowd, only the imam has that authority or that opportunity.
Te saa woo jaaree ci Ali Kalajigi.
And whenever you go through Ali Kalajigi,
That's plain, isn't it?
saa woo waxee dëgg bi nga jaar ci digga.
Okay, so whenever you
speak the truth,
okay.
Bu la kenn na am na koo offend.
let nobody fool you. You have already offended somebody.
Moo tax ñuy ñëw ci place yu mel noonu.
This is why they used to come to places like that.
In a sense, you are telling us that your mosque, your summons, and your activities were being monitored by the NIA.
ni da ñu bëgg a wax ne yow sa jumaa ji ak sa yëngu yi ak sa xutba yépp NIA yi dañ ko daan toppa.
Bañ ma jàppee la ma loolu leer.
I came to know that when I was arrested.
Ci lañ ma wax ne.
That's the time they told me.
Lépp loo musa xutba ñu ngi ko amee in record.
Whatever you have ever said in your sermons here, we have it in record.
Ci lañ ma wax ne oga daf de am daily briefing ci sa mbir.
That's the time they told me Oga used to have a daily briefing about your affairs.
We leave it at that for now, the first break, and when we come back, you will tell us all about Oga and how they monitored your summonses. Thank you very much, Imam.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank
you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll take a 30-minute break and come back at 12 noon. Meeting is adjourned.